Captain Mike is heading on what could be his last voyage as he looks for the mystical treasure of time. During his life, Captain Mike had made many mistakes and was now on a mission to atone for the sins of his past. He was looking for the one thing that he thought would lead to this atonement, going back in time to fix the wrongs he had committed. Captain Mike had left his family, the ones he loved most, to take the time to carry out this journey. The journey would be like no journey he had ever been on before. Captain Mike had been on the journey for 6 months already, and was no closer to finding the mythical treasure of time. He was growing increasingly frustrated as this was his only shot, and making up his past to his family and to himself. In his mind, the only option was to find the treasure and return to correct his wrongs. Captain Mike was so fearful that he would lose everything if he could not atone for his past. The fear was controlling him, was dictating his every move. Captain Mike was so blinded by fear that no other option even came into his mind. Captain Mike was awakened to his first mate yelling at the top of his lungs, "We are heading into a hurricane. Everyone to your stations. All hands on deck." As Captain Mike exited his cabin, he witnessed the storm on the horizon. There was no way to avoid the storm. Fear again set in as Captain Mike wondered to himself if he would die before he was able to prove to his family who he really was. Would he die without being able to show his family that he loved them, that he was not the man he appeared to be in the past? Captain Mike did not want to spend eternity knowing that all he ever caused to those he loved was pain. Captain Mike was almost frozen, unable to give orders. As he watched the storm, afraid that he was about to be overtaken, his first mate noticed that Captain Mike was lost. The first mate continued to yell orders to manage through the storm, to overcome this massive challenge ahead of them. Unlike Captain Mike, the first mate was confident and had no doubt that they would survive the storm, that they would come out stronger on the other side. Finally, Captain Mike was able to speak. "I am afraid. I am not worthy. I am not able to lead myself, much less this crew. I have failed as I always have. Why did I even try?" The first mate answered. "You must not try, you must act and do. You are changing for yourself, to heal. You are on a journey to prove to yourself who you are, that you are a good person. You will not let the past define your future. Look inside of yourself. What is this journey about? Why are you looking for the mythical treasure of time?" Captain Mike thought for a few minutes, and the answer hit him just as they entered the storm. "I do not want to be remembered as a man who caused pain, who continually let down the ones that he loves. I do not want to be remembered as someone who was always a failure, who was always weak. I must be strong for my family. I must be someone that they can trust and that they can count on. I cannot be a failure to my family." Just as Captain Mike finished his words, the ship began to toss from side to side as the waves tried to rip the ship apart. The waves were hitting the ship with their full force to send the ship to the bottom of the sea, to wipe Captain Mike from existence. This was the worst storm Captain Mike had ever experienced. Just as quick as fear had set in, Captain Mike began to feel an overwhelming energy run through him. His confidence boosted to a level that he had never experienced before. Fear was overcome in that moment as Captain Mike began to yell. "You will not destroy me. You will not take me from my family, or them from me. I am not a failure. I am worthy. I am a good man. I am a good father. I am a good husband. I will not allow the past to steal from me any more of the future, of my future." As soon as those words were uttered, the storm calmed. There were no more waves, no more attacking winds. Captain Mike stood on the deck of his ship a new man. No more could the past be held against him, as the past is gone, is dead. Captain Mike realized at that moment that he was allowing the past to rob him. It was him who had allowed fear to take over, and had allowed his focus to be on what he was fearful of, that he lost sight of what was right in front of him. He was on a journey to find something that he had, time. Mike awakened from his sleep realizing that he was having a dream. Mike awakened realizing that he was allowing himself to be bound, and was losing the gift of time while focusing on his fears and on his past mistakes rather than the precious gifts that were right in front of him. Mike realized that the first mate in his dream was his inner self talking to him in an attempt to wake him up to not what the lies were that were flooding his mind, but to the truth. Mike knew that from this point forward he would not allow the treasure of time, the treasure that is not mythical, be taken from him any longer. When we focus on past pains and past mistakes to the point that they overtake us, the effects can be devastating not only to us, but to those we love. Emotions are to be felt, are to guide us, and must not be suppressed. When we live in fear, in shame, in guilt, or in any other negative realm, we are prohibiting ourselves from growing and from healing. Grasp hold of this day and those you love. Show them who you really are and prove to yourself that the past does not define who you are unless you allow it.